Sign up to the SBR Network and use your free daily bet points to earn real-world prizes. Click on the page and start winning now.
Hello and welcome to SBRforum.com. In this video, we're taking a look at Game 5 between the Boston Bruins and the Montreal Canadiens. Now, it's been an airtight series for the most part. You know, the Canadiens have been leading in most of the games, but at the end of the contest, they've all been pretty close. Now, Game 4 was a different story, though, and we have to take a closer look at that one to see whether something is going to change in the pattern of the series. Now, so far, the Bruins have been fighting uphill, and I think that's the first thing that I noticed that changed in Game 4. Every single game they've been trailing, they've been trailing in this series in Games 2, 3, games 2 and 3, 1-0 hole, 2 and 4, I should say. They haven't really been playing from ahead at any point in this series, either in the games or the series itself. And I think that's a big difference for the Bruins. Game 4 was different for them. Didn't have to trail, didn't have to fight from behind. You know, when you're constantly scrapping to tie the lead, or to tie the game, it takes a lot of energy. You overexert yourself. I know the Bruins had a good offense this year, but when you take a look at what this team is made of, what their real core and foundation is, it's a defensive team. That's their bread and butter. You know, they like to get ahead, get a lead, protect it, and that's really who they are. That's their identity. They kind of, I don't want to say they got away from it this year, but their offense showed up in a big way. They were one of the highest scoring teams in the Eastern Conference, so I think they believe that they can outscore a lot of teams. Now, for whatever reason, that doesn't work against the Habs. Habs come into the game, Game 4, as the highest scoring team in the NHL postseason. So I think it was important for the Bruins to show that, A, Tuukka Rask can hang with them. Rask, to that point in the series, had an .884 save percentage. That's not good enough. They needed to show that their defense can slow down the Habs, because the Habs were scoring at an alarming rate. These games were high scoring, which is not what Boston wants. Talking about an average of 7 goals per game through the first 3. So Game 4 was a tide-turner in certain respects. 0-0 the entire way, airtight hockey. Neither team taking many penalties, and that's important for Boston because Montreal's power play has been great. So I think Boston really proved to themselves that if they can change the pace of these games, they can win, and that's what happened in game number 4. However, Game 5, I think we're still going back to basics. Tuukka Rask does not play well against Montreal for the most part. He's lost 15 to 20 starts. Montreal plays well in Boston. They've won 6 of the last 9 meetings. And you take a look at the odds. Given how close these games have been, how can you possibly lay -200 with the Bruins in this spot? We're talking coin flip results in pretty much every contest, overtime in games 1 and 4. Habs, having a huge lead in the third period of Game 2, obviously blowing that. And then obviously in Game 3 as well, barely clinging to a win. How can you lay -200 when these games are that close? Habs play good in Boston. They do dominate this series, even though the series is 2-2. They, before this, they had won 6 of 8 meetings between the teams. They know how to beat Boston. And adding all of that up, I'm going to take the Habs plus the value here. Just too much to pass up here. I still think this series is going 7 games. The only way it goes 6, in my opinion, is if Montreal wins here and then wins at home in Game 6. I really think the Habs have been in control for most of the series. They've really never been in trouble, I would say. As mentioned, 3-1 leads in Games 1, 2, and 3. And Game 4 was a fluky sort of overtime lucky bounce goal. I think Montreal gets back to business in Game 5, gets to Tuukka Rask early, gets a lead, and changes the dynamic, or at least brings the dynamic back to what they're used to, back to their comfort zone, I should say. Thanks for watching this video right here on SBRforum.com. We'll catch up with you again soon. We've got wire-to-wire coverage of every single playoff game in the playoffs. We're going to take you all the way up until the Stanley Cup is hoisted, so make sure you take in all the information and then go to your sportsbook and make some of these picks official.